Welcome into the Ringerverse. This is, of course, the Ringers Nexus podcast feed for all things fandom. We are Jomi, the explainer, Adeniran. You've got questions, he's got answers. We are Old Man Van, he of the receding yet resurgent hairline. We are Coke Baby Chuck, the 24-karat closer, along with us today, the Midnight Collective. Back in the back, Jonathan Luscious Black Chocolate Midnight Kermah, Aleya the Mod Zenieris, Steve, the Architect Almond, is under the weather. But guys, this is a very special episode. A very special episode. We got Sean, the movie master Fennessey with us. We have Lennox Mall.
Yes!
Herself, Amanda Dobbins.
I accept.
Hell yeah.
Join us today. And we are all the Midnight Boys.
Wait, really quick before we start. Guys, are y'all ready to enter the Midnight Jungle? Are y'all ready?
Whoa. Hold on real quick.
There's a lot going on right there.
The jungle?
Jesus Christ.
Charles.
The jungle is crazy.
The jungle is really crazy.
I don't know why you thought that would be okay. The
I got
jungle?
too hyped up.
It was all that talk of
jungle,
Animal
yeah.
Pack got him excited.
It is on the top
It's the
man.
Animal
The
Pack.
Animal Pack talk.
Animal Pack, man.
You know what's funny? It's because I was watching the new Tarzan not too long ago. Y'all ever see that?
With Alexander Skarsgård?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What?
Margot Robbie,
That's
let's
not
go.
bad,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
It was
bad,
all right.
man. I just think it was past. I think we over Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
I think-
correct.
Yeah, I think we passed the point of Tarzan. All right, dude. Anyway, we are the Midnight Boys. Also on socials, Twitter, Insta, Facebook, TikTok for now. Save Jomi's job. Jomi?
Yo, social's going great. Everybody's loving to follow. But shout out the Big Pic.
Yeah.
They're also on Instagram and TikTok. You can go follow them too. At the Big Pic on
All right,
Instagram, Twitter.
Let's not
Thank you, Jomi.
Yeah, thank you, Jomi.
How are things going, you guys? How's it feeling being on video as the Big Pic?
It's been complicated.
Yeah.
Complicated.
It's not ideal timing for me personally, but that's okay. We're working through it.
We are grateful to everyone here at The Ringer who's trying to make it as easy on us as possible.
Yeah.
But Amanda is pregnant with a child, and I hate myself. So those two things
Wow.
have combined to make this an interesting experiment
So
for
please,
us.
to make it okay, please go to @RingerMovies if
Yes,
you haven't,
please
and
subscribe.
subscribe. Please make our pain worth
Yes.
I love how Sean's answer to being on video is the same answer that Anthony Davis would give about his relationship status.
it.
It's complicated.
Why? See, there was no reason for any of that.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do
Well,
that.
that's what NBA players say.
What's-
I live with somebody, but we not together though.
Is the AD is AD like in the midst of some sort of dating controversy?
Not meant to say Anthony Edwards. But
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. okay. That
It
makes
makes a lot more sense with Anthony Edwards.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Send the video. Have you? Amanda, have you heard about the Anthony Edwards send the
Don't do
video
this.
controversy?
Don't do
No,
this.
please tell me everything.
You have to look it up. I don't want to bring it
Okay,
up to you
no,
right
can
now.
I Google it right now?
Yeah, Google Anthony Edwards send the video.
Send the video shirt, right? Okay, yeah, it autofills for me.
Be careful. Just be careful.
All right, we're
with
now on
this.
YouTube. You can watch every Midnight Boys House of R and Talk to Thrones episodes on youtube.com/Ringerverse. Like, comment, and subscribe. Program reminders! Every Monday, the Midnight Boys give you their
Oh,
instant
no.
reactions to Hot D. Yes. There was no other way that was going to go. There was no other way that was going
Is
to
this
go.
your company issued laptop?
I closed that tab.
This is actually a really good idea for YouTube. Is to tell Amanda about a sports controversy about the social media experiences of various
Yes.
athletes,
Oh, wow.
and you read them in real time. I like it.
Look,
Okay.
her reaction was so genuine. This Saturday, the Midnight Boys will be in Comic-Con. Maybe.
Okay.
Tess willing.
Depends on what happens every morning at around 9:30. Every Sunday, Talk to Thrones will be up right after the latest episode of Hot D ends. I would like to say, get well soon to a couple of our comrades who are sick. in all seriousness, we want to have the team back at full strength. Are you guys watching over there at the Big Pic? You guys watching Hot D?
We were talking about this. Amanda is not participating. I am fully locked in. I am really enjoying
It seems
season
like
2.
everyone who's watching is happy about it.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's having a great
They got
time.
dragons. The dragons are the nuclear weapons. They're using them. We're talking
Sea
about
Smoke
this.
is,
yeah.
Have you heard about Sea Smoke? Black people finally got a dragon.
Oh, congratulations.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Yeah, Sea Smoke, and it was good because Sea Smoke chose a black man.
Good at anybody.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only did he choose a black man, he burned a white man alive. He's a real one.
Wow. Rosa Parks
Jesus.
of Dragons. Incredible.
Wow. That went left. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
All right,
That was a Steve. That was a Steve.
See? This is why we can't. All right. See what I'm saying? Jomi, you glitched out. Sometimes Jomi glitches out.
Me?
You glitched out, Jomi.
What
That's
did
okay.
I glitch out? I
You
said
guys-
what happened.
All right. Today, the Big Pic is joining us as we dive deep into the MCU and explore the world of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, we've already been on the Big Pic. We had a robust, very
Mature, conversation.
nutritious
Midnight
conversation.
Men.
Midnight
Conversation.
Men.
Midnight, we were Midnight Men. Would you guys say we were Midnight Men?
Midnight Men.
The Midnight Men.
I'm
Midnight
so glad
Voice.
glad we could mature you guys. That's so nice.
Sounds so
Yeah.
balanced.
Grew you up.
That's what happens. But now it's time for the bullshit. So before we get into it, a spoiler warning for all MCU, 20th Century Fox, X-Men, and Fantastic Four content. Everything that has happened literally since Blade showed up at that club till now is on the table for spoilers. Please run a spoiler warning. We're getting ready to talk about
Deadpool and Wolverine.
You're listening to a reaction podcast. The spoilers are coming. To begin our reactions, we have to put you in the know. The only person who can do that is Chuck Wagner. The only way to do that is the Midnight Manifest. Chuck, take it away.
All right, here's your Midnight Manifest for Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Sean Levy, written by Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Winnick, Zeb Wells, and Sean Levy, starring Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Matthew McFadden, and a lot of other people. We begin with Deadpool, because after being denied from the Avengers and X-Men, he begins wasting his time as a used car salesman. Paradox, a member of the TVA, kidnaps Wade at his birthday party and informs him that his timeline, aka Earth 1008, is dying because he's the most pivotal figure. Wade travels across time to find a replacement Wolverine. He ends up with the worst Logan, who couldn't stop the X-Men from being killed because he was too drunk. When the duo returns to the TVA, Paradox reveals that he actually wants to speed up the destruction of Earth 1008. Paradox sends Logan and Wade to the Void from Disney Plus's Loki, where they must defeat the cultural debris of 20th Century Fox, i.e. Sabretooth, Pyro, Colossus, etc., etc. Eventually, Deadpool and Wolverine meet the ghosts of superhero movies past, the Human Torch, Blade, Elektra, X-23, and mount a campaign to stop the ruler of the Void, aka Cassandra Nova, who is Charles Xavier's sister. Deadpool and Wolverine make it back to Earth 1008, stop the Deadpool Corps, and end up saving Wade's universe. That's been your Midnight Manifest.
That's the Midnight Manifest. Give it up for Chuck right there. All right, so we have guests in the house. Oh, we have to talk about the fact that this is a long time coming. We've wanted to get you guys, dip you in the nerd juice.
Oh,
you will.
God,
Really gross.
no.
That's not where I
For
would
a second. We
Stop.
wanted to get you guys over here. Before we get into this, Sean, you've talked about it a little bit on the big pictures that I've been on. The other ones you've talked about it a lot. Why don't we get you guys' nerd credentials out here and just talk to the nerds about your history with the content. Sean, and then Lennox Mall, Dobbins.
Mine are pretty straightforward. And I think, frankly, the existence of the Ringerverse and me as one of the leaders of the Ringer indicates just how much I do and have cared about the world that you guys cover since I was 5 years old. I was a fan of comic books, a fan of comic book media. I was an avid subscriber to Wizard Magazine and probably spent north of $25 a month on comic books when I had no money to speak of. And I've lived happily through phases 1, 2, and 3 of the MCU, covered them on the big picture as best I could. I will say my nerd card, my jug of nerd juice has been revoked in recent years because I've been struggling a little bit. But in general, I'm with y'all. Like I love these properties. I love these characters. I love these movies when they're good. And ultimately,
Stop lying. What's the last Disney Plus show you finished?
Marvel version or Star Wars?
Yeah, Marvel.
Either one. Either one. If we were talking about nerd stuff, Marvel or Star Wars.
I definitely finished Andor.
Oh yeah. That's day one.
Andor was a year ago.
I think She-Hulk broke me on the Marvel stuff.
Oh,
yup.
man.
Let's speak on it.
You know, and I went into Moon Knight. Actually, I did finish Moon Knight, but I was so disappointed. So disappointed. Because
You didn't like the CGI alligator fight?
I mean, that was terrible.
move
But
you?
like, it was Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. I was like, those are two of my guys. I was fired up. And I was willing to go along with character that we don't know a lot about. Plus, Benson and Moorhead, the filmmakers, I really like those guys. They made a couple of episodes. There was a lot of stuff on the board there where I was like, I'm ready to go back to the old me, the 13-year-old me. And it really let me down. And I don't think I've gone back since. So I still watch the movies and care about the movies. But the TV show is like, I don't know what they could do to get me to watch another one of those shows.
Amanda, have you watched any Disney Plus Marvel shows?
No, Andor is Star Wars.
WandaVision?
And I watched a couple I watched a few episodes because Sean asked me to. And then I didn't finish. I did consume the memes about grief though, you know? So I was right there with you guys. Let's see.
Different question for you, Amanda.
Yeah.
Why do you hate superheroes so much? I need to know.
Don't
now.
do this.
No, it's fair. So I would like to give my origin story, as every
Please.
person on this podcast and also every superhero has had the chance to do. I, as Van noted, lovingly, I hope, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in the South in the 80s and 90s, and I had a pretty gender essentialist upbringing, not by my own design. So I was an only child. I just wasn't shown any of this stuff. Like, no one thought to be like, hey, here's a little girl who might like, you know, Spider-Man or Batman or Star Wars or anything. My parents are not really into that stuff either. So maybe they were just sharing their tastes with me. But so I didn't know, I just wasn't exposed to it. And then I was exposed to a lot of other things that I was very passionate about. And I really like movies and I like TV and I like pop culture. And I can be a fan about a lot of things. But it was an interesting time to come of age as a single woman in Brooklyn, for sure, but also as a person who covers culture, as these movies and this culture really, really overtook pop culture as we knew it. And so for a very long time, you know, I mean, we know from 2008 through Endgame, it was not an option for me to be into this or not. It was just kind of all consuming. And I have seen all of them.
Cinema, yeah.
And there was something about the way that superhero culture in particular took dominance, and maybe with a chip on its shoulder, where it did often feel a little shoved down my throat.
Actually, you know, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but very quickly, maybe the first time that Amanda and I ever actually hung out was immediately after the press screening of The Avengers. This was in May of 2012.
Yes.
And
the Brooklyn barn/farm.
You had just started dating my best friend, Zach. And I was just about to move to Los Angeles in about 2 weeks to go work for Bill Simmons at Grantland. And Amanda came with me and Andy Greenwald and Sean Howe, who wrote the book about Marvel Comics, and a handful of other journalists, and watched us break down the Avengers at what bar? I can't remember what bar it was.
Brooklyn Farm Barn. I don't know. They're still there, right? Like where Flatbush and, you know.
And I was like in my podcasting bag and not a podcaster at that time at that drink. So I was like breaking down the movie, talking about the lore, super interested in explaining who Thanos was to people, probably to you for the first time, but not the last. Yeah. And maybe I was just clocking that in the back of my mind. 5 years later, we started doing a show together, and then I started explaining comic book shit to you on the show.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for a while in this exact capacity. And that doesn't mean that I don't like superheroes. In fact, I have enjoyed some of the movies, and I laugh at some of the jokes. But I do think that there has something about the dominance of the genre and the way that dominance has been enacted by certain people sitting across the table from me or not.
Wow.
Or across the screen from me, I should say. No,
No,
it's
keep it to your own house. Don't
it's just
come for
it was
us.
not always the
What's
most
going on here?
welcoming of
Can this episode be like a healing circle?
Can we because
of course,
I do
but,
feel like
but Van was like, why do you hate superheroes? And I don't.
That was a little aggro.
it was
a leading
aggro.
question.
It was aggro, and let me tell you why.
Don't do your.
No.
Well, I was a nerd forever,
I'm
and
not
then
gonna-
finally,
that's not what I'm
don't do that
you
shit,
think?
bro.
Is it okay if I express myself? Because you don't know what I'm going to say.
We got to talk about the movie at some point.
We will talk about the movie. Okay, we will talk about the movie in a second. That's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is this. Okay. To all the people out there who don't have the superhero like situation in them, the nerd in them, I'm telling you, Amanda, I know something.
Mm-hmm.
It just hasn't been developed yet.
All right.
It just hasn't been developed. You're waiting for the right property. It hasn't come yet.
Yeah.
It might still come.
Well,
It might be James Gunn's Superman
no,
for you.
well, I
could
just
see
need that man to stop tweeting and start making a movie. You know what I'm
I
saying?
could see
Call
that
me
being
when
the
you are
movie
done.
that I could see that being the movie that brings you over.
No, Van,
all right, I can.
you know what?
I-
I liked the first 2/3 of Wonder Woman quite a lot, and then I don't know what happened. And it was something about Ares, who I do know is the god of war. But
How do you still remember Ares was in that movie?
Well,
Because Amanda's locked in.
Amanda's really
Amanda's
locked in.
locked in.
I do also I do like it when
Jeremy, don't.
when the comic books borrow from Greek mythology, because that was one I was given that book. You know that book, Delaire's Book of Greek Myths? No one? Okay. Sorry for trying to bond with you guys. So that's sort of like a different type of nerd comic book. Very beautiful art.
Wait, is that the book where Zeus has sex with a swan? No, he
I mean,
turns-
that happens.
tries to
That's
turn
in
into a
Greek
swan.
mythology.
Yeah, that's
That's
just legend.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
Leda.
that's
Yeah,
Leda,
that's Leda.
Yeah.
But this is for children, so they're not depicting that
Oh.
rape. He does eat all of. No. I guess Kronos eats all of his children's heads, and then they're born out again. Anyway, so Ares was in that book, and many, especially I think the DC comics, borrow more from Greek mythology more directly. Diana is Wonder Woman's name, and that is the Roman name for Artemis, who is one of the. Anyway, listen. So there are things that we can pay attention to, and I really liked, that.
That was a scare in the hose moment. Like, we are the hose now. The minute you started talking about the mythology, I was just like, what
You
the
guys
fuck's
were
going on?
stock still.
Yeah,
Just like
I was like, what's happening?
I don't know what was.
Can we please talk about Deadpool and Wolverine?
It's not so
But the
different.
reason- It's not because I'm trying to connect. I was trying to connect. That's why I was
for the
talking
first
about
time,
the
I
swan.
felt like many a woman who I was like, let me break down to you
Yeah.
the whole Spider-Man universe, and just sitting there like, okay.
So now you understand, a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's a great
You
deal.
made your point. You made your point. All right. This is about Deadpool and Wolverine with our big friends over at the Big Picture. We do instant reactions here. It's an instant reaction show. We're going to give you guys the first time. Now, obviously, we've talked about this. We've had the conversation over on the Big Picture. But I want to know for you guys, what was your instant reaction to the movie when you walked out of the theater? First things that popped into your mind.
I had so much fun, but I also think it's a wrap.
Ooh, that's tough.
So the first thing that popped into my mind was honestly the question that I asked Sean Fennessey and Chris Ryan walking out of the theater, which was, so who was Chris Evans playing?
Damn.
Which is maybe a summary of my experience of watching Deadpool and Wolverine as a person who has read Dolaire's Book of Greek Myths, but not any of the Deadpool comics.
Fair.
All right, so I probably was very similar to Sean because y'all were like, everybody was rocking, and I didn't laugh one time. And when I walked out, Kalika was just like, "What'd you think of the movie, Charles?" And then I just like hung my head. She's like, Why am I even asking?
Yeah, she knows.
Like she was like,
your shtick is up.
it's not a shtick. All right, wait. How's it? They like our big picture friends didn't like the fucking movie. Why is it an issue with
no.
Don't put words in the big picture's mouth.
Sean said it's a rap. I didn't even say it was a rap.
Yeah, I know, but Sean is saying it's a rap. Well, I'll let Sean speak for himself. Sean, why do you say it's a rap?
I did like the movie. I ultimately will be, is it going to make my top 10? It is definitely not going to make my top 10. But it's a wrap because I think the ways it is successful, it obviates my interest in the future of this storytelling.
There you go. So let me tell you what my instant reaction was. We're fucking back.
We are not back.
All right.
We are
not
so
back.
Oh boy.
fucking back.
So bad.
Because let me tell you what I wanted to do.
We don't have hats of that yet. That
I
we can just
know.
like put on as soon as it's we're so
that
back
makes-
time. You
It's
know?
like we're so back,
Yeah.
or it's Jover.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Jover. It wasn't Jover. I don't want to say we were so back,
Now we're back.
but I had a great time in the theater. The movie does have structural issues, but in terms of a comedy, in terms of making me laugh, in terms of having fun at the theater, I laughed hard. I had a great time. It's honestly, it's an enjoyable 2 hours.
Let me tell you why I say we're back. And a lot of people are going to be like, we're not back because we're very discerning here on the Midnight Boys, and the fans are the Midnight Mob, the Midnight Mafia, the Midnight Riders, should I say. And
Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels out there. The reason why I say we're back is because the last couple of Marvel movies that I've gotten, I've left the theater like dejected
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Just feeling nothing in terms of my enjoyment or connection to the movie. I could at least look at this film and go, I had a lot of fun. I laughed a ton. I like to laugh. I laughed a ton. And I left the movie feeling as if I had been entertained by the comic book characters that I've loved for a long, long time, which is essentially my bar for going to one of these movies.
Yeah.
That's why I would say we're back. Like, it's a gutting feeling to go to a movie with a character that you've consumed since you were 9 or 10 years old and not be entertained by that character. The movie fails twice. And I think sometimes for me, that's what I'm asking these movies not to do. A little stewardship to these characters I've been like entertained with for so long. And this movie was able to do that. It's not perfect at all. It definitely has a lot of problems though, for sure. Do you feel like it captured the spirit of the other Deadpool movies? Is this a Deadpool movie or is this something else with all of the in-jokes and everything that it has in it?
This felt different to me. This felt like the thing I think that the multiverse saga has been suffering from, especially visually, is that every MCU movie looks like every other MCU movie. And if you look at the first 2 Deadpool movies, it's Deadpool's world. It's a little bit grittier. The action's very close. And I definitely felt like in this movie, they were in Deadpool's world for a good majority of it, but it did not feel like Deadpool's world. It almost felt like we're going to, because even Feige had to get out in front of this and be like, hey guys, this is an R-rated movie, but it's a little bit more loving. It's a little bit more carefree. And I even think the Deadpool that Ryan Reynolds is playing in this is a little less mean than the Deadpool of the Fox universe, isn't as cutting, and the edges are sanded off a little bit.
Interesting. Jones?
Not really. I do think the world is different, right? Obviously, it's not.
Jomi said you're a fucking liar.
All right, first of all, the biggest difference, and I didn't realize this rewatching the first Deadpool.
He came directly
No,
at you.
the difference between MCU Deadpool and Deadpool in the Fox universe is like in MCU Deadpool, they're like, we can't have Coke on screen. We're gonna say jokes about pegging, all this shit. And the Fox universe is like, we're just gonna have a sex montage, and there's gonna be a bunch of drugs, and we're gonna be cursing, and those aren't the jokes. It's just like, this is an adult movie. We're gonna do the adult stuff. And Deadpool and Wolverine is like, we're going to make references about how cool it is we can say and do this stuff at Disney now.
He stuck his claws up a guy's ass.
Okay, and?
That's not enough for you? One more?
Nah.
Guys, I don't know if you guys have been watching the last couple episodes, I thought we were a sex positive podcast.
We are.
We are.
We are sex. You guys don't know that. We're a sex positive podcast.
That's great.
here.
You know, you guys are an example to the world.
So you're shaming me for maybe some of my
Proclivities.
Yeah.
I apologize. Jomi?
Jesus Christ. Actually, there is a sex scene in the movie, though.
Is there?
Yeah, when Wolverine and Deadpool are fighting in the car, that's very much like, oh, they're getting it on. You guys didn't see it like
100%,
that?
Jomi, you're right. That's why
Yeah,
that
it's-
shot of them after they've finished fighting and they're sleeping next to each other.
Yeah.
They're laying down.
And then, he's
That's-
even like, bondaged up in the seatbelts.
Yeah.
Did y'all notice how when we started talking about lovemaking, Sean's voice dropped a couple of octaves?
I Barry Whited it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
Sean, look, you did it again.
Yeah.
Sean is sexy as fuck. Like Sean, like did you notice? Sean was like,
this is
"You're
not-
damn right, Jomi. I
Amanda
noticed
is
that, baby."
dying.
Yeah.
She's like, turn this channel off right now.
I mean, I will
Like,
say
I
before we-
knew that there would be a lot of new, experiences on the Midnight Boys feed, but this is not what I wanted.
Before we get out of Sex Corner, I was sitting next to Isaiah and Kermah. We broke. We did the Big Pic. Now we're doing Midnight Boys. We broke for lunch. And Kermah, he comes up. He's like, "Yo, did you guys ever notice who's the?"
Peter.
He's like, "Peter,
Peter.
did you notice when he was in the Deadpool costume? He had a really big package. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Bulge.
there."
Yeah.
And then Arjuna, me and Jomi were like, "We didn't notice." He's like, "No, you weren't staring at it." And I was like, "Kermah, were you staring?"
Kerm, come in here real
You
quick.
know, hey, in Kerm's
Kerm.
We're gonna be
No,
sex
no,
positive.
No, we're sex positive. We're sex positive.
It's sex positive. We are.
The
I'm
framing,
just saying. I noticed it.
the framing
But
was indicative.
when did you start
Unintended.
staring, Kerm? Or like when did you start?
First of all, staring's crazy.
No,
I just
mine
noticed
just-
You just noticed.
it was some baseballs down there. That's all I'm saying. Like, it was clearly intentional. I know in what's it called, Black Panther with Namor, they CGI'd that shit the opposite way. They clearly went all the way in on like the bit to make it an obvious spot.
Were you bricked up in the theater, Kerm? Yes or no?
No comment.
Wow. Okay. So the film becomes a journey of the character of Deadpool to finding out whether or not he matters in his world, to finding out what matters to him, his friend group, all of that. Now, we talked about this a little bit on The Big Picture. Does the movie have anything other than jokes to you guys? Sean, is there anything more than gags in the film?
Yeah.
Was there anything you were able to glom onto in terms of the character of Deadpool, who Deadpool is, how Deadpool sees his world? Does any of that stuff work for you, or is it we just 2 hours of dick jokes? Which one?
Well, if it was just 2 hours of dick jokes, I would be okay with that. But, and I didn't say this on our episode. This is going to sound like a joke, and maybe it is, but it really isn't. Deadpool is the voice of a generation. He was
Oh God.
he was created in 1990 by Rob Liefeld. He is a signature Gen X superhero. His whole attitude, his sense of self-awareness, the way that he integrates with pop culture, the sense of reckless violence in the storytelling, and the fuck it, we're all gonna die anyway attitude is Gen X to a T. It is like he is representative of something that basically like introduced me to culture. And
And he's too cool to be in his own comic book.
exactly.
Mhm.
Doesn't play well with others. Thinks
Right.
he has all the answers. Is secretly very lonely. Like he's a great character for his time, and his creation and that era of comic book storytelling was basically all leading up to the 2010s MCU dominance, and him being the figure at the center of this movie, which is in theory saving the downturn of MCU storytelling. You can very easily like read semiotically into what he represents to pop culture at large right now. Like in the same way that Gen X is like basically being skipped over and power is shifting from like baby boomers to millennials, and Gen X, because they're like, fuck it, nothing matters anyway. Like who are the Gen X leaders of today? Donald Trump just picked JD Vance to be his running mate. JD Vance younger than I am. Like
I mean, the extensive is Kamala Gen X debate is going on, and that's really
Well, she's 60. She's definitely Gen X.
yeah. But it's
Without a
like
doubt.
Yeah, I
there's
think
like
this
the
is the
numbers
problem
and
at
then
Deadpool
the
and all
vibe
this.
thing.
Yeah.
Got the JMO quick.
She's not.
corner really quick
She's
with.
not the Gen X that we think of.
She's not
of-
Winona Ryder in Reality Bites. That's for
She's
sure.
not
Yeah.
Chris Rock. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? She's not. But she's certainly Gen X. I mean,
I think of her as more of a boomer because she's very establishmentarian. She's very like structures in society need to work. Like she was a prosecutor. Like she is somebody who came up through the system of politics. I don't mean to make this a politics podcast, but I think it's like related to a bigger idea about Deadpool. It's weird that I'm doing this riff on this show and not on the big picture.
I was about to say,
Hey,
this is a
look.
big brain take right now.
It's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
It is just my opinion. Thank you, Jomi. But I do think that this character being like at the absolute center, like the locus point of Marvel right now is so weird and yet kind of perfect. You know, like how old is Kevin Feige? How old are all the people that are in charge of making these stories? And he fits a certain attitude in the culture, especially an attitude of men in the culture. So it's interesting.
This might be jumping ahead too much, but I was like interested that so much of the MCU has not been working with the characters they're trying to introduce, whether it's She-Hulk or Moon Knight or new Captain America or whatever. And I am interested now that I'm like, they had to bring back Hugh Jackman. Deadpool that movie almost didn't get made. These are like characters who have been in our conscience for like over a decade. Tobey Maguire, all these, and I'm like, is that healthy for superhero storytelling where it's like now we're basically going back and venerating a lot of movies that weren't even good in their time? Like,
Yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting question, and I'm interested to. Yes, it is healthy. It's healthy in the long run, but in the short run, it's tough.
this feels like you trying to tell me Joe Biden. Like that, this feels like the Joe Bidenification of like superheroes where it was just like,
What do
they're
you
like,
mean
yo,
the
we
Joe
getting
Biden-
Hugh Jackman back
What
out.
do you
And
mean
I'm
the Joe
like,
Biden occasion? Well, what the fuck does that mean?
old ass motherfuckers, you were like, damn, like they really just trotting these people out there. Like once Wesley Snipes shows up, I'm like, we can't even get a Mahershala movie. And they are like, hey guys, remember Wesley?
It's a cameo of Wesley Snipes' Blade. It doesn't make any sense.
Everybody in this movie is 45 plus.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last one. What fucking difference does that make? That makes that makes no difference.
What's
Like,
the
tell
problem?
It's
Well,
like
what's the
some
problem with it?
geriatric motherfucking shit.
right, okay.
Are you
what does
feeling
that mean?
attacked by that, Van?
A little bit. So, like what I'm trying to like, I mean, my thing is this, like seriously though.
Yeah.
So they're older superheroes, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when they pick James Bond or whatever, it's gonna be some 45-year-old guy. Ethan Hunt, 60-year-old guy. It's a lot.
But at the beginning of this, they were able to be like, oh, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, a bunch of other like Tom Holland. They were able
But they've
to
done that. This is Deadpool. That's Blade. They've done that already.
Yeah, but why are we bringing back 50-year-old characters?
Because people like them.
What are you talking about?
This really is
What is-
nonsensical.
what are you talking about?
Because people like them. Because people like Blade.
No, because
like
they can't make new ones anymore.
Well, nobody likes
They don't know how to
Elektra,
do
for
it.
the record. Nobody really.
I mean, this is the second podcast in a row, plus my screening where I tried to start a one-woman ovation for Elektra's appearance.
That's
no
crazy.
buyers.
Man.
I never
People
saw
don't
that.
like it.
I never saw that
People
movie,
don't-
but I just don't think that we're respecting Jennifer Garner enough. Like that woman is on Instagram making pumpkin bread at 5 a.m. for her cooking show.
This is true.
And she is doing the Netflix family comedies and just
right.
and
Capital
holding
One.
the fort down.
Capital
yeah,
One.
and giving Americans like a probably bad rate on their credit card. And I just think we need to respect Jennifer Garner.
So look.
Just goes
You know what the fucking you know what the funny thing about nostalgia is? It always ages well. Like nostalgia is like what was bad in 1987 is great in 2007. What was bad in 2000, bro? When Willow came out, I liked Willow as a kid.
Me too.
When Willow came out, Willow was one of the big misses of Ron Howard's career of that. They had a whole
One of.
It was.
Well, I know, but anyway.
We're at Hillbilly Elegy back in the
Yeah.
Oh, Hillbilly
country.
LG, yeah. Well, work for that one nigga. I said, I'm going to the White House. Like,
So are you telling me Eternals
No.
in 20 years is going to be like...
But this
Yes.
is a very interesting line of thought.
yes, it is. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, not only in 20 years, I'm telling you right now, it's people now that are looking back at in 20 years, you'll be somewhere and Eternals will come on and you'll be happy to see it.
I guarantee you, I will not.
All right.
We have a through line though.
What?
Star Wars. Which the prequels come out. We're like, yo,
The prequels are still shitty.
hold on. We're like, Hayden Christensen, this whole thing is bad. All this, blah, blah, blah. Today, we said Hayden Christensen came out, everybody was going crazy.
We
love it.
I think it's all
We want
about
more.
for most people, it's all about when you see it. How old you were when you saw it, what the context of your experience was when you saw these things. If you were 11 and you saw Eternals and you hadn't seen every comic book movie up until that point, you might be like, that's my favorite comic book movie. That's entirely plausible. On this podcast, some of us are just way too old to be doing this anymore. And we persist, like I'm not stopping.
We're not as old as the superheroes in
That's
this
true.
movie.
That's a very good
we're
point.
just all hanging in.
So like my relationship to Elektra or Fantastic Four, when those movies came out, I was like, these are trash. And I haven't revisited them, but I
love
have
the
no
original
interest
by
in
then.
them.
I never saw Elektra. I'm not going to do it.
But Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man came out basically at the same time. And I loved that movie then and I love it now. So it all depends. Like everybody's different with these things. I think there's another interpretation of nostalgia, Van, as you well know, as a big fan of The Sopranos, which is like the lowest form of conversation is remember when. And this movie is just a series of remember whens.
But there are, right? The lowest form of conversation is remember when, but the most powerful form of storytelling is remember when. I'm sorry.
No, all right, no.
It is.
You gotta land the plane on that one, buddy.
It is.
I ain't gonna let you get away with this.
It is when you want to forge a deep connection with someone that you've known for a long time, you always talk about what you've done together and not what you're going to do. When you're reminding someone how well you know them, when you're talking to somebody and you're telling them and you're reminding them about how well you know them, you always remind them about something that happened and not how you feel now or now what you're going to happen. You remind people of what you've been through with them and not what you're going to go through with them. That's why when you see a story or when you see something, like people didn't react to Elektra. They reacted to Jennifer Garner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one in our screening reacted.
I know, but I'm just saying they reacted to the fact.
One woman in the other screening, and it's true. It was to Jennifer Garner.
They reacted to the fact that Jennifer Garner, and to be honest with you, probably some of it is with the fact that movie flopped, with the fact that things have been up and down for her. It was probably cool to see her get a win.
I mean, she was looking good. I was like, damn, Jennifer Garner.
She's doing okay. The storm is all around her, and she's fine. She just has a lot of different nuts in her bag at any given time that she'll show you.
No.
Wow.
No, nuts in that.
Guys.
No. It's actually literally like macadamia nuts. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's what you were talking about.
So we actually, because we have the Big Pic on this pod, we get very nerdy. We get in the weeds. I want to ask y'all, we watched both seasons of Loki where a lot of the lore of this movie is established. The TVA, Aleya, Sacred Timelines. Did you guys understand any of that? Like the structure of time travel and the cloud in the void and all that shit.
So I've seen one episode of Loki. I watched the first episode and I fell asleep. But I listened to many podcasts, including yours. So I have a general sense of what's going on. And also that they're just going to have to pretend like season 2 never happened, but which the TVA is useful for, right? So I know about the TVA, and I recognized the control room, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Because Owen Wilson was there at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was.
Owen Wilson was there.
And I mean, the thing is that they ornament it, and there are lots of different contingencies and lots of dialogue, but it's basically just like, yeah, there are a bunch of different timelines and we can restart anything anytime we want. And that's actually not that hard to follow. It maybe you're not investing in the stakes as much, or the stakes feel dampened if that's the way that you're understanding it. But that's the basic setup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
more so that they manage. So the original TVA was managing the flow of time for one guy so that the outcome was continuously in his favor.
Oh, I
See,
didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, see, he had one. See what I'm saying?
The anchor being?
No.
Yeah.
Well, there was no anchor being.
There
We
was
have
no-
a
there
whole
was- there was no
explainer
anchor
right
being.
here.
There was the original TVA. Oh, you want to explain?
Jomi, explain
the
the
TVA.
TVA.
Explain he who remains.
Who we will not talk
we
about.
can't, you know.
Yeah,
So
I
long
know.
story, yeah. So she knows.
King, yeah.
So, but I'm saying they were maintaining that flow of time for him so that he won.
Right. But now they got to get rid of that, right?
He's done.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he might get recast.
He could be recast. He's not going to be recast by the same guy. That's for sure. They're not going to bring back.
Should
that
they
guy.
recast him
He's
with
done.
Glenn Powell?
Glenn Powell's
listen.
Kang is fucking nuts.
Now listen, no, I like the way you think
like
right
that.
there.
I don't.
Hold on.
Why
Let
not?
him cook. Yeah, why not?
Give it to him.
I want him spending his time different ways.
Remaking Backdraft
Respectfully.
and The Running Man?
Yes.
I think my
I'm
Glenn
fine
Powell
with that, too.
feeling is that he's trying to be an action star, and I respect that, and I love that for him. He needs to get cast in every single rom-com
Amen.
over the next
There we
10
go.
years.
But even what we just said, real quick, I'm gonna get off this point. Glenn Powell is one of the biggest stars, and probably the biggest. I'd say we're on here at the Ringer. We're on his nuts more than we're on anybody else's nuts right now.
This is true.
It's been a long-term project of the big picture. We've been believers since
We
everybody
called our
wants
shot.
some, and since we started
You had
doing the
penny
show,
stock.
set it up. Like we were really in early, and
So
this never happens where somebody like is the star of a rom-com, it's a hit. Is the star of a streaming movie, it's a hit. Is the star of a big action movie, it's a hit. Like that new voices, that doesn't happen anymore in Hollywood. So
let's say we were to do like a Ringer, we love them / we're on their nuts top 3. And
you
the
can say
3
nuts
are-
all you want, and I can't talk about almonds.
It was funnier because you did it on accident. You weren't trying to do it.
Great sources of protein, and when your energy's dipping, Van. Jennifer
The
Garner
3
knows
are-
that.
Are they the animal pack?
Yeah,
the-
that's
of
what I'm
nature?
saying.
Nature's
There we
animal
go.
pack.
It's Quentin Tarantino, it's Michael Mann, and it's Glenn Powell. Rank them 1 to 3 in Ringer hearts.
I mean, Quentin is my guy. That's my guy.
That's number 1.
I think it's got to be Glenn 2 and Michael Mann 3. With
Well, for
respect
us,
for
Michael
them.
Mann 3?
Whoa!
That's
Ooh, they've been like 4
That's
heat,
nasty
4 heat
work.
rewatchables.
Well,
What's the
that's
last
crazy.
great
Nasty.
Michael Mann movie? The last truly great Michael Mann movie.
What's the last
Public Enemies.
Stop.
No.
I mean, it's been 15 years since he made a movie where you were like, wow, that was amazing.
It's true.
I mean,
The
that's
only
kind
thing
of
I
rude
said-
to Ferrari.
I liked it.
I
I think
thought
it's
you
very
guys didn't
good,
like
but it's not
Ferrari?
great.
So what I would say about even the Glenn Powell thing is, I think that superhero media, and we'll get back to, this is one of our best tangents. I think superhero media has informed the American blockbuster psyche in another way too, is that this is not the first era of remakes that we've had. It's not. They've been remaking stuff
Mhm.
for a long
Yeah.
time. They've been Charlie's Angels, the Mod Squad, like all of this stuff, take stuff with it. But it is very distinct now. Like Glenn Powell, who we're talking about, he's made some original films, but those are not the films that have made him who he is. It's been Top Gun Maverick. Well, you could say Hitman is one of them. It's been Top Gun Maverick.
Twisters.
It's been Twisters. And then he's going to do Backdraft and The Running Man. He's, to make his star, he is not looking for the next big original. He's not looking to star in the next Matrix type thing coming from the original script. He's selling America. He's reheating stars that have already been around in generations prior. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think he's got a playbook, and he knows that you need to leverage known quantities in Hollywood right now, and will accumulate enough success, not just as a movie star, but to follow exactly what Tom Cruise did, which is to eventually become a producer and then get the projects that he really wants to do. Because I've talked to Glenn, like he's loves movies and movie history, knows a lot about movies, and he has a plan, and he has Tom Cruise fucking guiding him. And he's going to eventually try to make his version of The Matrix. But right now in Hollywood, that's actually not feasible for somebody who isn't a like 5-time guaranteed draw at the movies. That's my read of the situation.
It's not even feasible for the guys that are.
That's what I'm saying.
Because,
yeah,
they're doing the same thing. All right. We had a villain in this movie.
We had two villains in this movie.
Who are two villains in the movie to you?
Cassandra Cain.
Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra Cain's Batgirl.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova, Charles Xavier's sister, created by Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
They created her new X-Men. Then we have Paradox, who... Is there a Paradox in the comics, or is this an original TVA creation?
I'm pretty sure there's one, Jomi.
Let's find out.
I'll look it up. Did the villains work for you? She was scary, but I have to be honest with you. If I'm looking at what they could have done with Cassandra Nova, who is such an interesting and diabolical villain.
Scary. Yeah.
Very scary, very powerful. She kind of just seemed like she was holding space.
I will say the Cassandra Nova part where it's like she's introduced, they introduced that she's like been in the void since childhood. This is her like lair. They never really describe what her powers are. She's telepathic and seemingly telekinetic. And she can use a sling ring. And by the time she like sends them back to Deadpool and Wolverine back to their universe, and then comes back and is like, all right, now I'm destroying this timeline. I'm like, who, like, what does Cassandra want? What is, like, she just kind of seemed tacked on.
She wants to rule.
Yeah, she wants to bring the void.
She wants to rule because she can rule in the void. So she wants everything to be the void. She doesn't care.
All right, sure. Then what was Paradox doing there?
By the way, don't give me the sling ring shit. The moment that Ned used the sling ring, the moment everybody told me that was cool. The moment that Ned used the sling ring, anybody could use the sling ring.
Who's Ned?
This is great. Guys, do you understand anything of what we were talking about?
Yeah, I do.
No, I just asked. I just want to throw in that Cassandra's fits were like A+. Really like that. The trench coat sort of with the big buttons and I was really into it.
How did it feel to see a woman in power?
Something, yeah.
It's a preview of November.
Something to look forward to.
God.
We didn't really talk about Emma Corrin on the Big Picture episode. And I was not I didn't watch The Crown.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch A Murder at the End of the World. And I guess I've seen them in like a couple of movies here and there, but I thought Emma Corrin was great in the movie. I don't think that's a great I don't think the way that character was positioned did the movie any favors, because everything that happens in the wasteland feels like it's just not going to matter in the long run of whatever's like it felt very, very low stakes to me. But in particular, the ripping the skin off of Johnny Storm moment, I was like, that is fucking cool. Like that is, I've not seen that in one of these movies. And that is an incredible visual exercise of power, which is what you want when you're trying to be like, yo, this person's super powerful, even though you never heard of them, even though they're related to one of the most important characters in all these stories. You know what I mean? Like Cassandra Nova, even in the comic books lore, is only in the 21st century, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that the execution of that character was really interesting. Paradox, I felt was very whack and kind of sad to watch Matthew McFadden get wrapped up in.
Oh, he was cashing a check.
He's trying his best.
You guys, he was terrible.
I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was. I'm a huge fan of his, and I love Tom Wamsgans, but like I thought that was not great.
He had one line.
He had one line that was super fucking funny at the end of the movie. He was terrible. Whatever they thought, I don't think it was a great.
But to be fair, he was Mr. Exposition. Like, they gave him so much exposition.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do with that?
Yeah.
And also, such low stakes. Like, once you're splitting the villain in two, you can kind of tell that neither villain is really going to have the heat. So whatever they're saying is just kind of, to your point, exposition gobbledygook. And he got stuck with playing like fake Tom at the TVA, which already is has the burden of all the other Marvel stuff. I didn't feel that he was put in a position to succeed. That's what I would say.
This is fan of Jane Austen adaptations, Matthew McFadden and Amanda speaking here too. You gotta remember.
Pride and
Yeah,
Prejudice.
Mr. Darcy.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Darcy.
then Succession. He's important. And husband to Keely Hawes, who I also hope had a great time with the money that was brought home from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Is there a Jane Austen
Extended
cinematic extended universe?
Oh yeah, there are so many crazy things. I've watched
Tell
some
us a
of
little
them.
bit about that. You got to clear out what.
Well, I don't go into. I haven't read a ton of them. I think I read at some point like a sequel to Pride and Prejudice,
Okay.
and then also
Pride and
More-
Prejudice
more
2,
Pride, more Prejudice.
yeah.
I was gonna say two Pride, two Prejudice.
Two Pride,
Two Pride, two Prejudice.
Prouder and
Yeah.
More Prejudice.
Yeah.
And that's just like they're like happily married, and then it's like is the next generation gonna get married or not?
Did you ever give Pride and Prejudice and Zombies a whirl?
I think I did see part of it. There's also they
Oh.
did something called Death Comes to Pemberley, which is like a it's what it sounds. Pemberley is the house in Pride and Prejudice. I don't know if you guys know that, where Mr. Darcy lives. And so they do like a murder mystery set there. And I read that. And then they also did, I think, a TV series of it that Matthew Rhys was in. But then there's also, speaking of Matthew Rhys, Carrie Russell was also in something, I believe it was called Austen Land, where it's like she has a brain injury or something and then like wakes up. Or maybe it's just she goes to an amusement park that's just like all of Jane Austen. It's all set in Jane Austen world.
It's kind of like you on this podcast.
one or the other. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, the Jane Austen cinematic universe ain't
There's-
like the MCU.
It's not.
There's
Yeah,
there's
it
the
is.
book club. Is it the Jane Austen book club?
It is.
Yeah.
Another movie, yeah.
Which is where all the old people get together and they
read the books?
Yeah, and Maria Bello too. I don't mean to.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I like Maria Bella.
so
Now, don't-
there's spin-offs and everything. There's also I'm sorry you asked this.
Go for it.
All the
People
novels.
are
It's
enthralled.
like in the same way that Clueless is a like update of Emma, which is a Jane Austen novel.
I did not know
Um,
that.
Yeah.
I never
but-
knew
Really?
Oh yeah.
that. What's Emma?
I don't know. I just knew.
Yeah, I just knew it was like.
Jane
It's
Austen.
one of-
like,
Because I
I
thought it
never
was
knew
weird
that.
that she was falling in love with her stepbrother.
Right, but
Whatever.
But then in Jane Austen world, it's okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
So just another of the novels. But then in addition to like all the like updating and so like Jane Austen novel in like modern times, there's like a Pride and Prejudice in every country, every religion, every historical time period like that you can imagine. There is a book version of it that you can buy and read, and I've read a lot of them. So, because
Wow.
I mean, in many ways, it's just like the basic rom-com setup. Two people don't like each other and misunderstand each other, and then figure out at the end of the book that they're meant to be.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Real.
They should do MCU Pride and Prejudice. They shouldn't.
It's MCU for, literature focused young women. I mean, that's what.
I get it. No. These are books that I love. I love you guys. You know what my favorite book was back in the day? You remember Silas Marner? You remember him?
no.
You guys don't remember Silas Marner? He was a miser.
Don't know about that.
It's a George Eliot book, right?
Yeah. You guys don't.
Sorry, I'm
wasn't
not
there.
that educated.
Yeah, I don't-
I'll tell you the books I read when I was a kid.
Well, I don't want to talk. All right. So look, this is the
This is the second time you've done this in like 3 weeks.
this
We
is
need to have a conversation.
this is the first R-rated MCU movie.
Yeah.
Jomi, what do you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it used, you disagree, but I thought it used its R rating to, nice effect. It was super violent, a lot of cussing. You know what I mean? That's the job got done. I like the beginning. Like the first part of the movie when they're doing In Sync, Bye Bye Bye, and he's
Hell no.
What? See,
Hell
So
no.
here's
that's how I know you ain't got no God in you. That's how I know there's no soul
Jomi,
left in you.
Here's the thing. You would think that I would have liked it as well, but it's all in the mask, so I knew it wasn't Ryan Reynolds dancing. And I
Which is fair.
understand.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, he can get him down like
Yeah.
this.
I understand that he does the mask for a lot of reasons or whatever, but I was like, you gotta unmask him. Like, for this to really land, I need it to be Ryan Reynolds doing the Bye 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 dance.
And I think because you brought up earlier, I think the Bye 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 fight scene to me was indicative of the whole movie, where I'm like, this joke and this punchline is just going on way too long. Because at first I was on board. Once he's fighting the TVA, he's dancing. I'm like, I'm cool. And then it keeps going. I'm like, all right, we get this.
You got to get through the
Crap.
credits. A lot of people.
And then
wrote on the
also
movie
no
and
Justin
produced it.
Timberlake joke at the end, which felt like, I mean, you could just tell when this movie was locked.
The best joke would have been if he pulled off the mask and it was Justin Timberlake. Just because they talk about being high on
Lady
cocaine a lot.
Deadpool, he rips off the.
Yeah, it's like right there. It's
Oh my God.
I mean, that'd be a way for JT to come back.
I don't think so.
But you know, I don't know how many R-rated MCU movies we're going to get.
Are we going to get Blade?
Probably, if Blade comes out.
Blade comes out, Blade will be R-rated. It doesn't seem as if Blade is ever going
Wesley
to come
Snipes
out.
is like, actually, it's just me.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, it seems like Wesley Snipes is angling for him to be Blade. I guess, you know, being that this is Deadpool, and we've seen the R-rated version of it before, was any part of you guys feeling like that Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy, that they were trying to stick it to Disney by making the movie as raunchy and over the top? Did you ever feel them telegraphing that and trying to make this film the hardest R they could get to let people know that they're not like the other MCU stuff? It felt like a little bit on the nose.
Really?
Nah.
To me, it did.
The thing that made me feel like, they're poking the stick at Disney was like, yo, the MCU kind of sucks right now. You're joining at a low point. Like, that's the kind of stuff where, like, dang, they let this slide.
Did they ADR that shit in? Do you feel like when they went back for reshoots and rewrites, that's when they were like, hey, well, you know, none of these movies and shit really working.
Yeah.
We're doing some rewrites. Let's like sneak these little jokes. Because here's the thing. If Multiverse, Spider-Man, all the Disney Plus shit was popping, I don't think Kevin Feige's letting them get that shit in.
I mean,
Yeah,
the movie was originally supposed to come out in May, and they pushed it back to July in part because of the strikes. And there were, you know, additional photography, which is normal on a movie like Deadpool. The thing about the Deadpool movies is, like, while I like them, when you go back and look at Deadpool 1 and 2, they age very poorly because a lot of the jokes are like, this was on Reddit last week. And I think a lot of the jokes in this movie, too, are just going to, like, we're joining Marvel at a low point. Like, that's going to seem weird 3 years from now. Like, we're not going to have the same mentality about this stuff as we did back then. So it is an oddly modern kind of movie. Like, it is a movie that does not care about being a timeless expression of heroism or whatever Captain America is meant to be. Like, it is something totally different from that. I would argue that that's like kind of a good thing, that makes it different from a lot of these other kinds of movies. It doesn't pretend to be something more important than it actually is. But if a joke misses now, imagine how hard it's going to miss 5 years from now or 10 years from now. It's going to seem even crazier. So that's kind of it's a flaw in the design of the Deadpool movies.
Does Deadpool, the character, have a future in the MCU? Because a lot of how the movie ages will have to do with how Deadpool ages in the MCU.
Well, I want to ask you. Oh, what were you saying?
So I was hoping that you guys would explain this a little bit to me and set it up, because, you know, the X-Men stuff is lingering, is over the movie, and I understand why, both because of Wolverine, and then Cassandra Nova is James McAvoy's sister, Professor X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Charles Xavier. They call him Chuck. I thought that was funny. And I know also that the X-Men were like a Fox property. So there's like been this long running thing of like, when can the X-Men like finally be reunited with all their Marvel friends? And I sort of thought the movie was like pushing more towards that. And I thought that like the post-credit sequence would be something about that. And that, you know, Deadpool didn't get to be an X-Men, or he didn't get to be an Avengers, but maybe like the big team up is coming or something. And I was surprised by the fact that it seems like none of that is happening at all.
Well, they've been very tight-lipped about this for a long time. Like, they got the rights, and Kevin Feige's whole thing is, when we know, we'll know. When we get it right, we'll let you know. And it's been how many years? Almost like 3 years since the merger, and there's not been a lick of information. It's always been, this and this, which and which.
Wasn't
like, basically
Frasier
pushing it down the road.
in a stinger?
Yes,
at
The
some
Marvels.
point?
The Marvels.
Yes.
Post-credit.
Post-credits. And then they were like, cool.
Beast,
You-
not
you
Frasier
have that.
Crane. The actor who portrays Frasier Crane. That would be sick if Frasier Crane showed
If
up at the
Frasier
end of
popped
Free
up in
Marvel.
ideas
MCU.
here on the Midnight
Guys.
I
Voice.
would be beside the moon. But to answer your question as well, like, I think what's interesting, there was rumors that Sean Levy potentially was in the mix for the Avengers movies. I think with Avengers Secret Wars, which is going to be a big multiversal story, part of me was like, are they maybe saving some of the X-Men stuff for those movies? Because now if you're looking for like who our heroes going to be in those movies, I don't know if they're going to be like, oh, Kamala Khan or I don't know, She-Hulk or Moon Knight can lead this. They might be like, we might want to bring back Hugh Jackman and Deadpool and Toby and
maybe to hand it over. I think
Yeah.
Toby's definitely going to be in the movie. Maybe to hand it over, you bring those guys in. Even in the comic books, though, Deadpool is in the X-Men part of Marvel. He's a mutant.
he's not immune.
He's a
He's mutant
mutate.
adjacent.
mutate, whatever.
Whatever.
But he still occupies his own corner of it, though.
Biological mutation.
As opposed
Yeah.
to a what mutation?
Not genetically born with it.
So if you are a mutant, then that means during puberty or a little bit before then, your powers just pop
Manifest.
Yeah, the manifest.
out. It manifests.
Okay.
He was given his
He was
powers.
like a scientific
Experiment.
experiment.
Oh.
Similar
Similar
to
to-
Logan, who is a mutant but also had additional things
Right.
applied to him.
And also like Spider-Man.
yes, but
So
not,
Spider-Man's
Spider-Man
not a
is
mutant.
not a mutant, but like a
Yes.
different thing where his powers
Well-
are acquired
Well,
at
here's
or
the deal,
around
though.
puberty.
Here's the deal, though. It depends on how you look at it, right? Because there are three different ways, right? One is like you're born with like powers or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Another one is you have a latent gene,
Mm.
and then that's why because the Eternals did this. That's why the super soldier serum worked on Captain America. Because he had a latent gene. If triggered, it could come out. And then the third one is you just can't do nothing.
Okay.
He had a wait.
You guys, this is the way they did it. Okay? This is the fucking shit that happened.
A
Don't
latent
look at me.
gene?
So this
That
is what happened.
is true.
This
The
is
Eternals-
like me with podcasting. You know, I was talking my
You gotta,
shit
like-
for 34 years and nobody was like, we should let this guy talk into a microphone. And then one day, Bill Simmons was like, you should talk into a microphone. And then look.
And then boom.
And now I'm
And then
Spider-Man.
boom, it popped out. You're the Spider-Man of
that?
podcasting right there.
Is
Yep.
Spider-Man who we would make you?
Who would you make me?
I mean, I don't know. I need some help here.
I kind of have
Oh, that's a good
Cyclops
question.
energy, honestly.
Mm.
Kind of like
Ooh.
chagrined and emotional, but I'm like, I'm the leader.
So
But,
okay, so let's
you
do this. So I'm assuming that Simmons is Xavier, right?
know,
Well, I hope
or
he's not
Magneto.
You'd have to-
Magneto.
Oh, he's definitely Magneto. Okay, so yeah.
Bill is Magneto.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely Magneto. Okay, so that's actually a good call. So if Bill is Magneto,
Oh,
yeah, you
boy.
definitely are Cyclops, right?
Yeah,
Chris Ryan is Wolverine.
No question. That was
Yep.
super easy.
easily.
Chris
Easily.
Ryan is Wolverine. Mal, Jean Grey.
Okay.
I know. I think
But she becomes
Amanda
Dark
might
Phoenix,
be
right?
Mystique.
Huh?
Mystique is kind of connected to the X-Men, but really is
Is
sometimes
that
was
Jennifer
Dark-
Lawrence?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Amanda's Mystique.
That's better than the
Um,
last time we did this, and you told me I was someone called Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl!
Oh no, not Squirrel
Wait a
Girl.
minute.
that's
Wait a
crazy.
minute. Why?
Squirrel
Why
Girl.
don't you?
I
I was
Okay.
really
Yeah.
afraid that you were
Squirrel
going to
Girl.
do the intro. And Lennox Mall is such an upgrade from
Nah.
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel
But
Girl
it's
is
like
terrible.
really,
Don't do
really
that.
Squirrel,
Don't do
hey,
that.
let me tell you something right now. Everybody fucks with Squirrel Girl.
Not me. Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl
sucks.
is great. Let's see.
Great Lakes Avengers.
Who are we? Are we in it?
What are
Wait, I mean,
What are
there's only
Mystique's-
You
so
might
many
be.
black X-Men.
Yeah, well, you might be.
I'm
You're Bishop.
I'm Bishop. That's that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like
And then who are the other black ones? Who's Jomi gonna be? He's gonna be the immortal dude who dies.
No,
Jomi
Jomi is
is
Colossus. Jomi is Colossus.
Jomi could be Colossus.
I could be Colossus.
All right.
I don't know who's the most evil actor.
Yeah, you probably like Morph. Back to the movie.
That's actually
know-
really good.
You know, the question about the future of the character is one thing, but overall, you know, Sean, we've talked a lot about what this movie means and like whether or not people liked it or not. But you, a prognosticator of movies, someone who knows about the industry, did this movie? You said that the movie made you feel like there wasn't much future for the MCU.
Yeah, because
What does that look like to you?
Well, I think
like, what
I think I put a burden on it. You know, like I think
Okay.
because of where it sits in the release calendar and what's come before it in the last 5 years, I personally was like very similar to what we did before Ant-Man 3, where we were like, it all hinges on this. And then everybody
Oh,
came out of it and they were
God.
like, the fuck was that? And I, admittedly, Amanda and I kind of liked Ant-Man 3. But
That's
That was
crazy.
the man with the large Corey Stoll and
Yes.
the big head.
Yes.
Yes.
So you like that one?
MODOK.
Well, I guess I hadn't seen
I
the
like
other
It
it
actually
too.
has a lot in common with Deadpool, where I was like, this is just kind of a comedy and not anything else. You know, like the stakes feel weirdly low and they're in a land we've never seen before. And everything that happens here doesn't feel important to what's going to happen in the future. So they're kind of similar story-wise.
I think the difference between Ant-Man 3 and this movie was that like Kang was supposed to be the big bad, right? Like for the entire MCU. This is the first time we're going to see him, and he got beat by ants.
Yeah.
That's not how that's
that wasn't
gonna go
ideal.
down.
I didn't love that either.
Ants are powerful.
Clearly.
Sure. Yes.
Not that powerful.
Yeah. This
When
is
they're-
meant to be like the most powerful being in all of existence.
Yeah, until Galactus shows up.
Well, good point.
So,
Good
you
point.
know, and then you've
You're
got
really on your Galactus.
you've got
today.
Dark
You guys,
Phoenix.
these credentials.
you've got-
Dark Phoenix ain't never coming back. They ain't never
well,
trying
sure,
that.
but like all these people are so powerful until someone more powerful comes along.
You're not wrong.
Then
Is that a
there's,
metaphor
then
for
there's
life?
That's how it
somebody
goes.
called the one above all.
Who's that?
Mm.
That's basically like God in the Marvel, whatever. So you, so I think until, and this is the thing, this is the reason why I asked the question. I think until we get the movie that says we're all the way back, every movie is going to be the movie that it's all riding on. Like
Yeah.
it felt like
no, because
I swear to God, bro,
nobody's gonna
we've
put that on
done-
Thunderbolts.
We've
bro.
done this
Bruh,
too many
It
times.
felt like everything was riding on this movie, and I liked the movie, and I liked it a lot. You guys are gonna get a shocking midnight meter rating. I liked it a lot, but this is not going to be the film that is going to convince somebody of the health of the MCU. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Then what's it gonna be? Fantastic Four?
But hold on though. In fairness to the movie, that the movie has no interest in that. Like that.
No,
Yes.
not at
that-
all.
That is
Yes.
not at all what it's trying to do. That I'm just talking about my imposed expectations based on what I thought it was going to
Well,
be.
and, like,
But
and-
it's not trying to do that.
And I think like the general movie going slate until last week and the success of Twisters, like this was supposed to be either the savior of the summer blockbuster season or the like it's so over. And now and also because Disney made it the only Marvel entry this year, like everyone, and it's because of the scheduling and the strikes and all of that stuff, but it's not just you narratively.
Right.
It's kind of been put in this position. I agree that it does not seem to want to be speaking on behalf of the MCU or Kevin Feige or anybody else. And really it just seems like more of a lark for people who dig this sort of thing.
And as Jomi pointed out on the Big Picture episode, a movie way more interested in the past of 20th Century Fox than in the future of Marvel. So it's okay that it wants to be that. I would say that the promotional materials are not suggesting that to us.
No.
So
Yeah.
so audiences are
trying
going to
to
be like,
keep those
oh,
secret,
interesting.
yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the reaction is after this weekend. Right, the movie comes out and all these stuff kind of gets spoiled. People start talking about it. Do more people go up and show up like, someone, Human Torch in the movie, Blades in the movie, Elektra? I can't imagine someone's like Elektra's in the movie, but still, right? Does the narrative change a little bit? I'm sorry,
It's tough,
I-
man.
it's-
we are not we're
I'm
trying to
sorry.
beat these allegations.
That
all right?
woman is like 53 years old, I think. Looks amazing in that suit.
Hmm.
Endured that wig that they put on her. She's 52. I'm sorry for aging her a year. And I mean, and she's working so hard, you know?
Super hard.
So just
She looks great.
let Jennifer Garner be.
Do we think the MCU, do we believe in their vision for the X-Men? Because right now they've been like trickling it out. We've got X-Men 97, Quicksilver was in WandaVision. Who else? We got Beast in the Marvels.
Well, yeah, Billy, and
Let me tell you why it's going to be tough for them.
Okay.
Two things: scale and expectation. So, in '99 or 2000, whatever the X-Men first came out, they were freed up by the fact that the movie couldn't be as big as like an Avengers Endgame. The X-Men's powers are so crazy, the stories are so deep. They knew they had to make it smaller, so they did make it smaller.
Yeah.
And it worked to a degree. Then the second one came out, kind of a more contained story, not very colorful, not very flashy, getting deep into the mutant angst type of stuff, scale back powers to the degree that they scale back. It worked. This one, the expectations are going to be so gigantic for the X-Men to take it further and farther and bigger than before, right? And the expectation of scale from the audience right now. Like, there was a joke in here that people missed in the movie where he rolls up on a comic accurate Wolverine.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps asking for a short Wolverine. When you see that, it looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
It's a good joke. Like, when you see that, it looks ridiculous.
In the comics, Wolverine's very small, very short.
He's 5'2",
Yeah, it's like
or
5'2"
or 5'3".
Yeah.
He's like 5'2" or 5'3" in the comics. He's very small. And it works for the comic books, but on screen, that doesn't work. So to me, when you and there's a whole section of the internet that's chirping for a small Wolverine. It's just.
I mean, talking about comic book accurate, even like there was that moment of we got it when Hugh Jackman finally puts on the cowl. We finally see him.
Did you cry?
No.
I did not cry.
Yeah,
I honestly was like, oh, I recognize why they never did this.
Yeah, because it doesn't look that
it
great.
doesn't look that
so,
great.
yeah.
I was like, this is
Yeah, because it doesn't, because it's for comic books. It doesn't. I mean, it's cool to see that they did it.
I thought it looked fine.
it looked goofy.
It
was
wasn't
it CGI? Was it
you guys,
real?
you feel
No.
that Deadpool looked way cooler?
I guess. Like, yeah, I mean,
I do think
I think
that's one of the best
Deadpool's
things about
look is a
Deadpool. Is
classic,
the styling
yeah.
of that character in the movies is like really good relative to
I think
what
it's like
a
a
lot
top
of
three
like the original
comic book
X-Men
costume.
movies are weird. Where like there's a joke about that, about how they never get to look like they're in on a superhero team in the first two X-Men movies. Like they're dressed like they're just kind of into parkour,
And
you know, like
black leather. Yeah.
yeah.
He said that the Matrix made them change the way they had they
Yeah.
wanted to be like the
But
Matrix.
one thing about the point you're making, Van, is I think that this is working. What Marvel's doing is working against its long-term goal, because like the three X-Men things that we've now gotten since the merger are the Beast cameo, which is a look back, X-Men 97, which is the most look back shit you could ever do. I loved it. I thought it was great, but
Interesting.
pure nostalgia play. And now this movie leveraging the greatness and the like unmistakable Hugh Jackman of Wolverine, and in all likelihood, they're gonna have to recast everybody. Like they're not bringing James McAvoy or Patrick Stewart.
All those
back.
people
Like,
are done.
Those people
They're
are all
all
gone.
done.
So
Yeah, they're done.
that is a huge hurdle.
But they should bring James McAvoy back. I mean, my guy has had an amazingly weird 10 years. And also his physique has changed so much.
I
Don't you
know,
want to see
I
it?
know.
I mean, look,
Don't you
they
wanna see
could
it?
they actually could bring him back at this point for him to play a little bit older of a Professor Xavier, and then you could ride with this Professor Xavier for the next 20 years.
It depends on when
rather-
they said it, though. And that's something that, you know, Charles was saying, like in the Avengers movie, they're probably going to start to show us what era. Because like the Fantastic Four movie might be a 60s movie, right? Isn't that the
Yes.
Yeah,
impression?
it is a
It's
60s,
movie?
in a different
It's
universe.
So like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
if these are 60s and
Huh.
70s like period pieces, or an 80s movie or something like that, they could do it, but they're
Oh,
going
is
to fuck
that-
it all up with the timelines anyway. You know, like whatever the Secret Wars story is going to be, all the TVA stuff is going to be used to like set a new course entirely, I would guess. And I would guess it's more likely to be like Jeremy Allen White is Wolverine rather than Hugh Jackman
For
or
sure.
someone we've seen.
Oh,
before.
hell no.
Well,
Jeremy's
No?
too
King.
good for it at this point.
So he's perfect, and he'll end up doing it. It's going to happen. So.
It's weirdly obvious how right.
Yeah,
he is
it's
for
like
it.
it.
No,
yeah.
it's great casting. I'm just like, if I'm Jeremy Allen White, I'm like,
If you're Jeremy
If you-
Allen
wait,
White,
excuse me?
you like to get on boats and all of that stuff too,
Hey,
and you want to be able to go do small little movies in the 6 months that you have to yourself every 2 years. So you're gonna do it.
yeah.
All
What are you
right,
talking about?
like is that he's gonna do it. I'll tell you this. Like to that point though, remember the next couple of movies are getting us to that cast. So all of these old fogies might have a last hurrah.
Mm.
The Secret Wars might be everybody else getting cleaned out and getting us to the new group as we get rid of it. Because think about it right now, these are the movies that are on tap. We got Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, The Fantastic Four, Blade, huge question mark, and 2 Avengers films.
Avengers 5 and the Secret Wars.
Mhm.
Avengers 5 and then Secret Wars. That's from this point, this is through 2027. None of these movies is a shoe-in.
Mhm.
Like not one of them.
Avengers?
Avengers, yeah, maybe.
Depends on who's there.
Depends on
though.
who the team is, but none
Yeah.
of these movies are a shoe-in. It just doesn't seem like there is some concern to me in terms of how they're going to right the ship and who they have.
If they whiff on Fantastic Four, do you think that people will still have patience for the X-Men? Or is it like, oh, they didn't get the Fantastic Four right, it's done?
I think the curiosity factor for X-Men is still at an all-time high. Like, I think no matter what, people will be interested in whatever those characters, if you were born between 1965 and 2007, you're like, I'm interested in the X-Men if you're, a fan of this kind of storytelling. So
True.
I think no matter what, they can do it.
If they flop on Fantastic Four, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. For
But
me
Fantastic
personally,
Four is tough as a movie property. They've already tried twice and it didn't work both times. It's a really hard story to tell. And it's a Van's point earlier about Superman. Like, that was kind of a story for a different era in comic book storytelling.
Maybe.
It's a little harder to tell that story now.
It's
but
definitely hard to tell it.
But going 0 for 3 is tough.
They got to nail it. So Amanda, you laughed at trying to figure this out. You kind of laughed at the jokes. Deadpool was the spirit of the jokes and not the jokes themselves, more so, right?
I don't. Excuse me. I don't know. I think I maybe laughed at some of the jokes themselves that I got, which were the more pop culture jokes,
But you didn't find yourself in the movie. I thought this was the funniest superhero movie ever made.
All right.
Ever made?
Ever made.
Oh no.
Let's think about it.
I didn't. And
What's
even,
a funnier superhero movie?
Definitely not this.
Thor Ragnarok's pretty funny.
This is funnier than Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but it's some of it is about the style of comedy that you prefer, right? Like, and Thor Ragnarok is not really my style. This, I was like, oh, that's cute. I like see that you're doing a comedic thing that fits Ryan Reynolds pretty well, and maybe I was amused, but I wasn't laughing. But I prefer either a screwball comedy, which is again why I brought up the first 2/3 of Wonder Woman, which is sort of like a 40s movie. And Gal Gadot is falling everywhere and Chris Pine doesn't know what's going on. But to me, that's funny. I laugh at some of the Avengers ones. I don't mind that before they wore out, that sort of self-aware,
The little quippy stuff.
I like a quip.
The Joss Whedon-y writing.
Which I know is not a cool thing to say, but so I don't think the spirit of this made me laugh very much. I was like, it's nice that I was laughing at Sean and Chris laughing on either side of me. How about that? I thought that was really, really funny. Every time they couldn't help themselves and started giggling, I was pointing at them and laughing. But that doesn't mean it's not funny or that I'm opposed to it.
The stupidest jokes worked on me. You know what I laughed? You know what I thought was hysterical? When Nice Pool goes, I can softly break the fourth wall.
Oh, I laughed
he just
at that.
looks at
That
the
was
screen
funny.
and says the proposal. That's the type of shit that's funny to me, son.
I just think
I don't
the Rick and Morty meta Ryan Reynolds whole shtick. I wish we would sunset it.
I'll tell you something right now. This is this movie right here is Ryan Reynolds at his most powerful.
I totally agree. I've been
This
saying
is
the same thing.
unbridled, 100%
power.
Ryan Reynolds,
Unchecked power.
unchecked Ryan Reynolds. This is as much Ryan Reynolds as you'll ever get in any movie ever.
And I think that's why I think I'm very cool on it. Because even by Deadpool 2, I was like, all right, I think I got Deadpool's whole shit. And in Deadpool 3, he's like, motherfucker, this is my movie. I don't give a fuck. It's too much.
The thing about Deadpool is that is who he is. That's what he does.
I think as a society, we move past Deadpool.
I mean, maybe. I loved it. I love meta commentary, man. You mentioned Rick and Morty, Community, all that stuff. When you have those in jokes, when you understand what you're seeing and they talk about I love that kind of stuff.
So
this kind of stuff worked. I liked it.
All right, we got awards to get to. All right, first award up. We'll let our friends from the Big Picture go first. All right. First award up is the award for Best Cameo.
I already know my answer.
These are the choices. Chris Evans as the Human Torch, Wesley Snipes as Blade, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and one that we haven't talked a lot about.
Henry Cavill is Wolverine.
Henry
So
Cavill
that
as
was
Wolverine.
actually him. I wanted to do a point of order.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think he was credited.
It was
That's-
him, yeah.
Well, I mean,
He was credited,
you know.
I know he was CGI'd in, but it was definitely supposed to be Henry Cavill.
It's
'cause they
Henry
make the whole
Cavill
DC
as
joke.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Who could also play Wolverine if he wanted to come play Wolverine.
Hell no.
He could do it.
I don't
To
know.
me, the
Jeremy Allen
mutton
White-
chops.
The good joke to make there would have been putting Dougray Scott in that spot because that's who was
I thought
supposed
they were
to
gonna
be
do that.
Wolverine.
Now, I'll tell you something, Sean. If they'd have done that, that would have been total, because no one,
That's for the real heads. yeah.
no one would have got that.
You guys are just saying words right now.
Dougray
wait,
Scott,
just-
Scottish actor, was supposed to be Wolverine. He decided to do. Did he get hurt?
No,
Or he decided
left
to do Mission
to-
Impossible 2?
He decided to do Mission Impossible
That's
2
what it was.
because at that time, Mission Impossible 2 was a much surer bet
Yes.
than was being Wolverine in the X-Men,
It's the
except for the
Matrix
fact
Wild Wild
I was about to
West
say,
shit.
it's the
Like,
same.
that Mission Impossible 2 fucking bomb. I didn't
That's
bomb.
tough. I mean, this is not.
He's just also a tremendously forgettable villain in that movie, which is one
Yeah.
of the least successful Mission Impossible movies. And it literally altered a fraction of Hollywood history.
I'm deeply
Tough.
anti-James Gunn, so I like this Henry Cavill moment of,
Reclamation for him in superhero
sure,
stories.
yeah, I appreciated it. I still would vote Chris Evans, I think.
Chris Evans is easy. It's
Chris
just
Evans.
Yeah.
All right.
I like Channing Tatum.
I'm going to go with Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing. I like the joke. I love seeing Gambit. The cards were cool. Everything was cool about him. But to your point that you were bringing up, I feel like he was almost too jokey. I kind of did want to say, I'm like, Channing Tatum, this is your moment. This is your
Take it
audition
seriously.
reel. Show me your Gambit. And he wasn't really doing that.
I mean, yeah.
Making fun of
Where
my
are you
culture,
guys on
too.
Magic?
Ooh.
Oh boy.
Wait, Magic Mike?
No.
No,
like,
Magic.
Well, so
we love. Here's the thing. We love
Hell
Magic on the
yeah.
Midnight Boys.
Okay.
These are
we
my guys.
definitely love.
So that's
we-
under the Midnight Boys tent. Magic is part of the culture.
Here's the thing. If there's a magician in a room,
Magic is part of the culture.
You gotta leave
you
that
don't.
alone. You gotta
You
leave that
just
alone.
are not like this is dope as shit.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Let that one go. Let that one go.
Well, but sometimes black people are afraid of magic. It's true.
Wait, no. Black people love magic.
Man, you want to freak, rest in peace. You want to freak my fucking dad out? Do a magic trick. You'll make him mad. Do it again.
I'm sending
Do
out
it again.
an open call. I want the Big Picture and the Midnight Boys to be invited to the Magic Castle. I want us to have a night at the Magic Castle.
Hey,
Whoa.
by the way,
Oh.
been there.
I love it there.
Freaky. You've been there. I legit think the place is haunted. I think
it
it's
is.
evil spirits in there.
Yeah,
Like
it's a powerful
the
space.
niggas in there that do magic, they really good at magic in there.
It's an
Have you seen
amazing
the
experience.
Have you seen the piano
Oh yeah,
that plays?
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never been to this place.
I've never been.
So
to
it's
the
an
Magic
LA mainstay. It's up on a big hill on what's the turn there?
Right off Franklin.
Franklin.
You have to wear a jacket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Franklin
got,
and Highland. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's no casual attire. Gotta wear a suit. You have to have dinner there, and it's a very expensive dinner. Not the greatest dinner in the world you'll ever eat, but once you've paid for your dinner, you roam the building and attend different
In there.
performances in various rooms throughout this giant home on Franklin.
Wow.
And it's just like, even if you don't like magic, it's a guaranteed fun people watching experience because everybody who's at the Magic Castle, a little weird, a little
Yeah.
like a little emotional about magic,
Sure.
a little invested in the stories. I personally am. I'm like, man, I'm just like, I'm in 1,000%. Like, I just want to stay there all night. I love it.
And
Well,
you
in
have to
fact,
know a
we
magician
did.
to get in.
Yeah, you have to. You're right. You have to be
Oh
invited.
shit! It's like that
to
Illuminati
be-
shit.
You have to know a magician again. You have to be invited.
Wow.
So, if there are
Invited
any
to
magicians,
Magic.
practicing magicians,
Invite us
Holler
out.
at
I'm
us,
so
yeah.
ready.
We'll go.
Yeah, mine's
All right, so the
obviously.
next-
well, I didn't even
The
get
next
through it. Y'all
award,
keep
we have
cutting
3
me
more
off.
left. Best/worst joke. Hugh Jackman's divorce. Wesley Snipes hating Ryan Reynolds. Johnny Storm and Deadpool death rant. Every shot at the multiverse. Would you guys
Nothing.
try to wrap this up?
We gotta stop cutting Jomi off. But go ahead. We gotta stop cutting Jomi off. Big picture, what you guys got? What's the best?
Best or worst joke, whole movie. I think the divorce one got the biggest laughs.
That
Easily.
that got like the oohs in our audience.
Yeah, they're like,
I haven't been
ooh.
able to mention the Avril Lavigne "I'm with You" needle drop,
Oh, I
and
love
I
that
just
record.
wanted
I love
to
that
say
record.
I felt seen.
yeah, enjoyed the
love that
Goo Goo
record,
Dolls
man.
one too.
Yeah,
I'm
They
gonna-
had some records in this bitch.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
pop music in this movie.
I wasn't
Yeah.
pleased with the remix of Life is what's that song called? The Madonna song? One of my favorite
Like a prayer?
songs.
Like a prayer.
Oh,
Like a prayer. I was
yeah.
about to say
No,
I'm living
that
on a
wasn't.
prayer, and I was like, that's a Bon Jovi song.
At the end.
Well, they do the Madonna version, but in order to sync it up to the fake tracking shot, which I was annoyed by, they have to cut some of the most dramatic moments, and I was upset by that. But then they bring in a cover, but it's more of like a full choir, and I did like that version.
Okay.
This has been Amanda's music
That
corner.
was not the question. I like the Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner Daredevil joke.
Yeah, that
the
was
best,
good.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that wasn't nominated, but that's my pick.
This is our nerdiest award. Best
Think we get to
Wolverine
talk anymore?
costume.
Yeah, did Jomi get
Jomi
your...
just
You
jump-
keep skipping over the
Did
I
Jomi-
want to jump in,
They
bro.
go, you go.
Jomi, just... I didn't get a chance to give my best joke award.
Y'all weren't even listening.
What are you doing?
I didn't. You just.
Y'all
you
weren't even
just-
listening.
you just-
They
you
go Big Pic, and then
prioritize
as soon
Big
as they
Pic.
start
All right,
talking, you
what was your
go.
favorite joke,
I don't
guys?
want to do it.
No, why did you bring it up?
Because I don't. You skipped me over, and I don't want to do it.
All right, I'm gonna go. This award,
No,
I'm going
Jomi
to.
wants to do
I
it.
wanna
You still
go.
want? All right, you don't.
Yeah.
Show me.
My favorite joke is at the end of the movie when we're all like expecting the X-Men to come out or do something. He goes back and he's like, "Look, Johnny said all the stuff he wanted to say.
Oh, that's great.
I hated that shit.
I
I
loved
was like,
it
bring the X-Men in.
because,
Bring the X-Men in.
because Chris Evans he's doing the whole thing. It's like, I don't know this and this, and it's like, I mean, first of all, when we see Chris Evans in MCU, he's Cap, he's so stand up. See him so crass like that in MCU film. I thought it was joke.
I can't
thought it was
wait.
great.
I can't wait to see the movie again, man. You guys are getting me excited. I love this
It was
movie.
awesome.
All right, what was the
This movie
best
is my
Wolverine
Godfather.
costume? Original blue and yellow, classic orange, Age of Apocalypse, or short Wolverine? I'll start with the Midnight Boys.
I like the brown one.
I like the
Oh.
brown. They shouldn't have put the brown one in because I was just like, y'all should. That
Yeah.
one, Age of Apocalypse, was dope too.
Age of Apocalypse was good too.
I liked the one he was wearing for most of the movie with the sleeves, like with the sleeves, like that
No,
was class. That was good.
sleeveless.
I don't know. Yeah.
What was you guys' favorite Wolverine
I like
costume?
the brown one too. I'd like to see a whole movie like
Yeah.
that.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was trying to
What
think
about-
really hard about what he was wearing. I guess I like the yellow with the sleeveless at the end. You know?
What'd you think about Hugh's body? What is he? His body was.
I mean, you start to wonder what goes into that from a supplements level. We'll
I
stick
got
with
two
that.
words for you.
And
Animal pack.
Animal pack.
Animal
pack.
Animal
Animal
and then
pack.
also from not just from a technical CGI level, but like what is the grease paint that he's using? Is there an industry standard? Is there something
I think he
special?
got his own mixture. I think there's a Hugh Jackman, like he got a guy.
And I
being
definitely
like, "This is
think
just
he's
for you."
like he's chest contouring a little, which I like. Why wouldn't you?
Of course.
You got to
What does
look your
that mean?
best.
Oh, talking about for the makeup.
Yeah. On the chest, etc.
Yeah,
I
you
see.
got to.
So I immediately go to just kind of the how. But good for him. I hope he's healthy.
A lot of fish, I'm sure a lot of chicken,
Yeah.
just like a lean
Yeah.
cut.
All right, best fight scene.
All right, we have Deadpool versus TVA with soundtrack by NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. Deadpool versus Wolverine in the Honda Odyssey. Team Deadpool storming Cassandra's lair. And then Deadpool and Wolverine versus the Deadpool Corps. Now, this isn't my favorite. We have not talked about the Deadpool Corps that much. Was that tacked on a little bit? Like, towards the end of the movie, I was like,
It's the weakest part of the film.
it's real. Like, it looked very Comic-Con-ish. Some of the costumes, I was like, why does this look so...
Yeah, I wasn't fucking with all the different Deadpools.
Yeah.
Very,
How
very
was it?
pointless too.
Doesn't
Like
work.
resolve
Also-
itself so
Doesn't work.
stupidly.
When the
Yeah.
baby shows up and I was like, oh no, you're not gonna. I got really mad. But then
I thought they were gonna do it.
I was
I was a little like,
You want to kill the baby?
I was really
I didn't wanna
upset.
kill
It
the
was
baby,
like the
but if you're
beginning
gonna
of
put the
the
baby in-
Flash for me as well. I was like, don't you dare. But then
don't put the baby
they
in.
also they did not have like the balls to like actually go through with it. So I didn't like that. I
So
didn't
what
like
you're
that.
saying is, if you're gonna show the baby, kill the baby.
Well, if
there's a microwave and a
Deadpool
baby
is, like,
in a movie,
really Deadpool, if this is less like for
Jesus, this is
real as
dark.
you guys say that it all is, and they say that it all is, then
let's go.
I'm just saying they
Evil
blinked.
Wow.
Evil squirrel girl
Let's go.
has
But
appeared on the
I
Midnight
did think that baby was cute, and I was mad that it was in peril, even for a second.
That's a Lennox Dobbins take.
Wait,
Yeah.
you
Lennox
didn't
Dobbins.
name the best fight in the movie.
Which
The
one?
The best fight in the movie is the first fight between Wolverine and Deadpool when AC/DC's Hell's Bells, when they first land in the void. And
Really?
that's when I was like, I'm 12 years old right now. Like, I'm locked in and
But it's
super
pretty
excited about watching these two fight.
And do you know why? Because Wolverine has been criticized, at least for me, for not fighting like Wolverine. He fights like a brawler, but in that fight, he crawls.
When he's
over
doing the
some
crawl
bullshit.
shit,
I was
I was like,
I'm like, oh shit! They figured out Wolverine's fighting style.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, that was comic books. That moment is comic books.
He's right. Yeah.
but it looked ugly. That's why.
Oh, interesting. You feel like that?
The fight or the
I thought the
like,
choreography was
visual?
actually really good. I just think the void was kind
The
of an
void
ugly
sucked.
space.
No, the void.
Yeah.
I think the fight itself was cool. I think a big problem with this movie is having so much of it be in the void. The minute they started
Agreed.
making fun of like Mad Max,
Yeah,
Furiosa,
Charles
I'm
is
like,
right.
Furiosa looks
He's
dope.
not wrong.
Dune Part 2 looks dope.
Yeah.
All this desert shit looks.
It's
Yeah,
true. It did
Charles
look
is right
weird.
about
Yeah,
that.
no,
It
correct.
did kind of look like that. It didn't look very lush. There was no depth to it. It didn't have very much character. Charles was right about that.
I gotta go with the first fight scene, the TVA with NSYNC in the background. I loved it. Like using Wolverine's body, his bones as weapons was kind of fun for me. I enjoyed.
I like the
enjoyed that
Honda
a lot.
Odyssey one because it reminded me of the first Deadpool. Just like a very close, contained fight, two angry people. It was just, I was like, this is dope.
Okay, so that's my least favorite one, and let me tell you why. Whenever they fight, I like when Wolverine and Deadpool fight, but when they're fighting in the Honda Odyssey, it's just stabby contests with no one. They can't hurt each other.
I mean, they can't hurt each other the entire movie.
I know. So what I'm basically saying is
It's
like
pointless.
the fight kind of it's like, okay, when y'all gonna stop fighting? That fight went on for a long. It was cool to watch, I guess, but I don't like. First of all, I hate watching people get stabbed.
Wait, why are you watching this movie then?
For me, the older I get, you know when it changed? There's this episode of Game of Thrones where Bran and his friends remember when his friends get killed and the fucking white
Oh yeah,
is just stabbing the guy?
Mhm.
And it's like, I hate watching people get stabbed. But I thought Team Deadpool, storming Cassandra's lair, Blade, fucking Gambit, Elektra, X-23, she puts the glasses
that
on the whole
fight
nine.
also looked.
Yeah,
Janky.
that looked a little janky, and that was also that was like a lot of old people trying to hit their marks. You know, like God
Yeah.
bless every one of them, but they were like, you know, here, like I am.
Can I be honest with you?
No,
And
in spirit,
Like,
it meant something.
We're all in it. You know, we're all trying to hit our
You
marks
could
every
tell
day.
how old Wesley
Right.
was.
Yeah.
Like he was trying, but
I want to say something real quick as we continue to call these people old. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the animal pack. Look at this. Like, as we continue to call
Wesley's
these
61 though. Like it's okay.
Oh yeah, he is mad the fuck.
Yeah.
that's
old.
pretty old for a movie like this.
But look, but we seeing 61-year-olds. We got Brad Pitt coming up in
That's true.
the creatively titled F1.
Yeah.
We got
Trademarked.
Cruise.
we got
Cruise, yes.
Mission
Cruise.
Impossible 8.
like wasn't Liam Neeson breaking people down till he was like
Yeah.
75? He was old and
yeah,
taken.
but I think superheroes are different
Probably so.
because they're
Y'all know-
supposed to be a little bit more
just
ballet.
like-
How about my guy Clint Eastwood at 91 crying macho? You know, like we don't stop. We get into our 90s. We're good.
That's all true, and I'm thrilled to be joining everyone's ranks next week. But it was like it was not just the movement of the bodies, but they were like, hold on, I almost remember this choreography. You know, you could just see the fight.
They didn't even shoot Wesley close up.
No,
They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't like it, the Blade style of choreography is you with us, Sean?
This is 4 hours of potting, bro. Had a yawn. I need a coffee is what I need.
Yeah. So the Blade style is real close up, and every single move they don't have faith in them in no more.
It's
Kalika said he
ironic because
looked
that's what I mean. Snipes was an incredible physical performer in those movies. It's a huge
Yeah.
reason why those movies
Yeah.
work. You buy him so completely in those movies. So it's a little unfair to be like, all right, you're 53, do the same shit you did when you were 31. It's hard.
Yeah.
Kalika say he looked like Al Sharpton.
God damn!
No. No, why? That's
Yo!
Why they had him out there? I was like, what? She was like, he wasn't giving Al Sharpton. I'm like, that's fucked up.
Oh man.
All right, now it's time
Oh my God.
for our most contentious and final segment of the day, the Midnight Meter. Guys, do you guys know what the Midnight Meter is?
Of course.
I do, but I don't want to do it wrong. So will you set it up?
The Midnight Meter is a regular 1 to 10 scale, 1 being terrible, 10 being the best. But we reserve 11 and 12 for game changers, okay? The best of the best, the creme de la creme. These are the movies that will stand the test of time. In honor of the Big Pic, coming over to the Midnight Boys, we will let you guys go first. Midnight Meter, Deadpool, Wolverine, Amanda.
You got to go first.
I mean, I'm just.
You got to drop a 12.
I mean,
on
like, no, my answer is like Apple. You know, like I don't have a number.
Apple.
Like I'm just like, that's a pretty good fruit.
Okay. Amanda's gone with Apple for her Midnight Meter ranking. I'm not sure if
That's
our
actually
social
funny.
team, Jomi, maybe we can. Is there a way to
If there's an
represent this?
emoji, it'll be
There's an
nice.
Apple emoji.
I like that. Nutritious? Apple.
I'm a 6. I'm. There were times where I was like, "Damn, this is a 7.6," but it's really more of a 6 because when I think hard about the movie, I feel that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and so I don't want to overrate it right now.
Van.
8.
Wow.
That's very restrained, man. I thought you were going to give this shit like a 10 or 11.
It's
It
impossible.
can't
I
be.
mean,
You can't.
there's no story.
No.
I mean, I just be honest with you. You guys, if you're listening to me right now, you will have fun in Deadpool
For sure.
and
If
Wolverine.
you
will
are listening to this podcast, you'll have fun. Sure.
yeah, you will have fun in the movie.
Objectively,
you've already
even
there is
though I'm
no
a hater,
story in
you
the
will
movie.
at least see stuff on the screen
Yeah.
where you're just like, dope.
Yeah, there's no story. It's as thin from a story standpoint. It's literally one of the flimsiest superhero scripts I've ever seen. But the performances, everything, they still get you there. 8's the best I could do. I feel like this movie is an 8 out of 8, and let me tell you why.
All right.
All right, now
man.
come on now.
No, stand on the 8, bro.
I'm standing on the 8.
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm standing on it. I feel like this movie is an 8 out of 8. With the limitations that this movie has, it's the best version of itself it could have possibly been. Like literally, because it's not really. It borders on sketch comedy.
Sure.
I mean, this movie for what it is, it's the best version of this. Anything more would have took them making a different type of film, and I think they made exactly the movie they wanted to make.
Show me.
I gotta agree with Van. I'm going with an 8. I think it is one of the funniest superhero movies we've ever gotten. And like we didn't talk about this on this podcast, but the Hugh Jackman performance is really good. I enjoyed a ton of the cameos. I had a great time watching this film. So I'm rocking with an 8.
Is it an 8 out of 8 or an 8 out of 12?
It's an 8 out of 10, but like kind of out of 12. You know how the Midnight Meter
Yeah.
works. It's all confusing, but it's an 8 out of 10.
This is what the people have been waiting for.
Come on now, give it to him.
You
Deliver.
know what?
Here comes the
I'm
hottest.
going to be fair. The controversial cultural critic is going to be fair.
Mhm.
I'm going to give this a very decent and strong 6. Maybe on a rewatch, it could get to a 7.
Wow.
Okay.
It could get to
I'm
a 7
fucking shocked.
if it
Wow.
holds up.
I cannot
fucking
believe what
shocked.
we're hearing.
You know, you guys realize that like Charles. Every time Charles comes on the Big Pic, we lose a little bit more of him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We energy
You know what I'm saying?
vampiring him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like every time he comes on the Big Pic, we lose a little bit more of him. What's the one movie where every time a guy does it, he dies a little? Like,
I was gonna go. It's more like Homelander and Butcher with Ryan.
yeah,
He goes to Butcher house and he's like, "Wow, this is how I can live. I don't gotta be like that no more."
Mhm.
That's what it is.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Goes over there with
It's a
the mu-
cookie. They
with the
play
movie master
foosball.
and Lennox Mall Squirrel Girl, and
Charles, door's always open, man. So glad you're in
Yeah.
LA.
Wow.
You're welcome
Wow.
there's
anytime.
a third chair.
Wow.
All right, here's the
Wow.
thing.
I didn't say third
Well-
chair. Third chair.
I love the Big Pic.
Third chair. We're conducting a nationwide, decades-long search for third chair.
It's okay. Here's the thing. It's my second home. I love the Big Pic. Love you guys over here. I'm never switching up on my day ones.
That's what I'm
bro.
talking about.
Midnight Boys.
You know, I want to ask you guys before we get out of here, what movies are you guys excited for in the last half of the year? What?
Oh, it's grim.
Yeah. What movies are you guys excited for?
I've heard reports, or I've rather not heard reports about Trap and screening availability and all sorts of things, but I don't care. I can't wait to see Trap. I just absolutely cannot wait. I know that it could absolutely fall apart, but it's Josh Hartnett season, always in my heart, and I'm really, really excited about it.
I'll be honest with you. I think the MCU could take some cues from M. Night on how to get your mojo back a little bit, because he was down in the dumps and then he came out of it. I know Sean likes him. Sean, what about you? Last half of the year, what are you looking forward to?
My number one most anticipated movie of the year is Nosferatu, which is coming out on Christmas Day from Robert Eggers. It's the retelling of the classic silent horror film starring Bill Skarsgård.
Vampire stuff?
And I saw an extended trailer of it a few months ago and it just looked fucking sick. But that's what I'm about. I'm about depravity, you know?
But listen,
Nosferatu on Christmas days.
That's
crazy.
diabolical.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
diabolical.
That's some sicko shit.
Listen,
You're about that action. That's what that
Gladiator 2. I don't care that we didn't need another sequel. I'm so ready.
Classic.
Same, I'm in.
Craven?
Nobody's excited
Kraven
about
the
Sonic
Hunter?
3?
Yeah. I mean, Venom: The Last Dance is like, that's a national holiday for me.
Oh, Venom,
wow.
the best superhero franchise cooking. Joker 2?
No, don't say that. Don't do that.
I was saying to Amanda and to Jack Sanders when we took a little break here that I'm just all in on the Joker and Venom movies, and also the Deadpool movies, and those are like the three most like loser energy superhero franchises. But for whatever reason, those are my guys. You know, I'm just
Gen X heroes.
I'm riding with Deadpool. I'm riding with Joker. I'm riding.
You know why I like the Venom series so much? Because you don't have to like it.
That's why I like it too.
Venom, you just set free.
Yeah.
Venom has set up this world where anything can happen. It's all stupid. It's all that's bad journalism. One of the craziest lines from Venom 2. He's like, that's bad. Eddie, that's bad journalism. I'm like Woody Harrelson, who has carved out a fantastic career, being a semi-serious actor, like a top-rate performer, just going nuts. It's like, whatever. I fuck with it. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm telling you guys right, I'm calling my shot right now. Craven will be good.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Craven.
Let's go to, come on.
Okay.
I don't think Aaron would have
Go
done
to bed, Grandpa.
Come on.
Craven will be good.
J.C. Shandor directed that movie. Director of Margin Call, director of All Is Lost, director of A Most Violent Year. Incredibly talented filmmaker. Director of the Netflix joint.
Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier.
That's right. You guys know about Triple Frontier?
That's what you should have started with that.
There
Wait
we
a minute,
go.
bro.
Oh, you should have started with that.
Hold on for a second.
Well,
That's the guy who made Kraven the Hunter, so you never know.
I propose a podcast called, well, they already have it, it's The Rewatchables. I miss Triple Frontier. I would love to do a podcast on Triple Frontier. 80s style action flick, hidden gem.
Oh, that's great.
Love Triple Frontier.
Amanda and I are huge fans.
It is the Big Picture's like most underrated movie of the last 5 years.
It's awesome.
What happened?
Netflix.
Like, it's a legit
Netflix, yeah.
It's a legit awesome movie.
Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, Ben Affleck.
Garrett
Hedlund.
Hedlund.
Yeah.
Hedlund.
No, or is it
Let's go.
Garrett Hedlund or is it Charlie Hunnam?
Charlie Hunnam's in it.
And
Charlie
Garrett
Hunnam?
Hedlund.
Oh, man. How do you Charlie Hunnam
Charlie
stop?
Hunnam had the incident at the Publix. He has that monologue where he's like, he had PTSD and he like crashed the cart at Publix or something. Sorry, really stayed with me. Georgia
By the way, could have a sequel. Now that Oscar Isaacs is the man, bring it back.
Quadruple Frontier.
Quadruple Front.
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Can you beat me to it? That's twice.
It's not, I mean, we're locked in on this. It's good. I mean, Triple Frontier should literally be on the rewatchables.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie.
Yeah, they did Shot Caller. I watched that shit. That shit's not bad, though. I looked at that shit. Shot Caller kind of good, bro. It was in that motherfucker going. Weird John Bernthal role. He'll be in anything.
Yeah,
That's a wrap. Every Monday, the Midnight Boys give their instant reactions to Hot D. Every Thursday, the House of R will deep dive into the House of the Dragon. This Saturday, the Midnight Boys will be at San Diego Comic-Con. Maybe.
Lord willing.
Every Sunday, Talk to Thrones will be up right after the latest episode of Hot D. We would like to say thank you to our friends from the Big Picture for joining us today. Thank you guys so much.
This was so fun.
It's very fun. Very fun. Our producers are Steve, the architect almond, Jonathan, Chocolate Midnight Hot Fire Kermah, Aleya the Mod Zenieris, Jomi Adeniran on socials, #explain me baby, and additional production from Arjuna the Watcher Ramgopal. Chuck, take us out.
Thank you to the Big Pic. Unfortunately, the MCU is not back. Stay locked into the Midnight Boys, because we gonna be off that animal pack.
I'll tell you, let me tell you what happened to me on the animal pack.
Yeah.
You know, I had gone to the gym maybe a month ago, to the boxing gym, and I boxed this young heavyweight named Ray. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Ray. Ray beat the shit out of me.
I thought you were supposed to have more testosterone.
Ray was. This is before the animal pack.
Oh.
Ray was putting something on my ass, and Ray was fucking over me because I hadn't sparred in a while. So I get back in the gym, but at the same time I'm getting back in the gym, animal pack. I go back in there Saturday, frustrating the shit out of Ray.
Ooh.
Talking to Ray.
Wow.
Like, Ray, I got you. Ray, I got your timing. Bang, bang, pow.
Okay.
Ray got your timing. Animal pack. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Can I tell you my
See-
version of Animal Pack?
Sure.
I just received an email from a company called Viavision. It said your
Okay.
Viavision order has been received.
That's what the fuck I'm talking
I,
about.
I looked at that and I was like, I don't know what this is. It appears that on April 20th, I went to an Australian Blu-ray website and ordered the movie Barfly on Blu-ray.
Oh my God.
This is sick.
The movie The Gambler on Blu-ray
Okay.
and the movie
Yeah.
Drugstore Cowboy on Blu-ray.
Oh, Drugstore Cowboy, I love.
I have no memory of doing this whatsoever. This is something that happened
On
3 months ago.
April 20th,
Sean,
420.
You know,
Maybe I was fucking obliterated. Maybe I was super
Wait,
high.
when you're
Like, is that
fucked up, when you're like just fucked up and
You-
lit,
he
are you
ordered
just
movies.
crushing Blu-ray? You're just like, yo, this is everything that I want. Just at Barnes and Noble.
Honestly, yeah.
Shop.
Yes. But like, I have no recollection of doing this, and I straight up spent $100 on these 3 movies of my
And
own
look,
money.
a gift to yourself. You know,
And
look at you. You're
it
like,
was a gift.
it's Christmas.
I think Sean, I think what we should do is, because you're 42, right?
I'll be 42 on Friday.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
So 42, 1982.
82.
So 1980. We should spend the next. We should have until 50. You got 8. I got 6. We should spend the next X amount of time just roganing it out on some Rogan shit.
I'm in.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, me and Sean about to start doing more martial arts.
Yeah.
Getting fucking supplements on the animal pack.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just roganing it out.
What
I thought
about
you were gonna go,
what
like,
about
right-wing.
adopting some new and interesting ways of seeing how the world works?
Yes.
That's
Fuck
that too.
outta here.